Are you somebody who would say that you've been trying to get more views on YouTube and grow your audience on YouTube, but it's just not working? Today's department is the YouTube department. That's why I am so excited to get you this conversation with Myron Golden, who has made more money in the last 3 years of doing YouTube than he's ever made being an entrepreneur in the last 30 years.
I'm gonna do at least one video a week for 10 years and see if that does something. We had 10,500 subscribers. I wouldn't have been able to imagine that my channel could grow this fast. We don't have the largest YouTube channel and the most profitable YouTube channel. We probably have the most effective YouTube channel on YouTube.
And in this conversation, we talk through how Myron's made it easy for him to be consistent on YouTube. And then we also talk about how he's broken through the mold with simple YouTube tactics that you can apply on how he's been able to grow to over 800,000 subscribers in just 3 years. Let's get into it. You're a businessman, an entrepreneur.
I am.
You spent time in ministry. You've lived a lot of life. And you came to the point at 60 something and said, I need to start posting videos on YouTube.
Well, I was actually posting videos on YouTube sporadically, keyword, sporadically. And I started 15 years before I actually launched my YouTube channel. So I was on YouTube for 15 years before I actually became intentional on YouTube because I didn't know what intentional was. Right. In fact, interestingly enough, Omar, I was on YouTube for 14 years. I had 6,000 subscribers, probably 40 videos before I ever heard of YouTube monetization. Did not know it existed.
It's wild.
How's that for crazy?
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's like I didn't know it was a thing. And then I heard Daryl speak at one of Russell's inner circle, one of Russell Brunson's inner circle meetings. He started talking about all this, how they created the #1 crowd-funded film series of all times using YouTube, and how they made, like, the stat that got me though was, he said, oh, and over the last 3 years, we sold $28 million worth of swag. I'm like, time out, bro. You sold $28 million worth of hats and t-shirts and sweatshirts and towels? There's obviously something I don't know about. And I had already built a business that does millions of dollars in sales, but $28 million worth of swag, of stuff from a YouTube channel, I need to learn whatever this means.
I think it's important to note that you put yourself in the context to learn that.
I did. Yeah, I put myself in the right place. And in fact, to be in that room, it's a $50,000 a year mastermind, which I've been in since 2015. Wow. Right? So, but people who pay attention.
That's right.
People who pay the most attention.
That's good.
Yeah.
I learned that from you.
Right.
And so you leave that conference and you're like, all right, team.
No, before I left the conference, I went and had a conversation with Daryl. I said, do you have a coaching program? He said, yes, but it's $15,000. And I said, can I write you a check? Yes. People who are 62 still write checks.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I wrote him a check on the spot.
Okay.
He started coaching us in January of the following year.
All right. So let me in on some of the things that they told you about YouTube that you didn't really realize was what would change the game for the videos you start to post.
So in full disclosure, I have a team.
Yeah.
So they didn't really tell me anything because I didn't go to the coaching calls. My team, who uploaded the YouTube videos, Zach and Laura, they went to the calls. Yeah. They told me what Daryl said to do, and I did what I was already doing. So here's what's really interesting. I launched my YouTube channel, the intentional part, in April of 2022, with a Bible study that I had already been doing consistently every week for 9 years.
I love that.
But all I did was took something I was already doing and I turned the camera on.
Yes.
And so instead of doing it in front of a handful of people at the IHOP in Tampa or on Facebook Live, I turned it into a YouTube Live, and the world started beating a path to my door.
I love it.
A Bible study specifically for entrepreneurs to teach them how to build their business based on biblical principles, which are the ultimate success principles, in my opinion.
Which is how I found you.
Right.
And I love that, and there's just so much power there that most people are actually creating content. They just don't have a camera on.
That's it.
Yes.
Your life is content.
Your life is content.
But some people turn the camera on. Some people want to live an outstanding life, but they're unwilling to stand out.
Come on. That's really good.
Yeah, you ain't gonna live an outstanding life if you hide.
Yeah.
Hide is the opposite of standing out.
So, I mean, there's a lot there, I know, to unpack
There's a lot there to unpack.
Like, you've been communicating to a live group of people
since I was 17 years old.
Since you were 17 years old.
And yeah, that's a long time.
And I do think there is power in the fact that you just turned on the camera and went live, because there was that live energy.
Right.
And I think that kind of hacked your channel.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
Because I'm getting you as a human on YouTube, not jump cut, not like fancy editing.
Right.
Just delivering content.
And what's really interesting about that, a lot of people, well, I guess they know now, but all of my recorded videos that we upload are live. They're in front of a live audience.
Right.
So I don't record videos in front of a camera.
This is so good.
So in other words, I'm not creating content. I'm turning a camera on and letting my life be content.
Good.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'm just doing the stuff I was doing anyway. Now, in full disclosure, I wasn't doing like 2 Bible studies a week. I was doing 1, but I decided, well, since we already have the camera on and we already have these people here, instead of just teaching them 1 lesson, I might as well record a lesson and then teach them a lesson. And then later in the week, we'll upload the lesson we recorded. So we made it very strategic. So believe it or not, we post a YouTube video every day at 10 a.m. Eastern time, but we only spend about 3 or 4 hours twice a week recording.
It's incredible.
Now, the team spends a lot more time editing and getting stuff ready, but like the amount of time that we take, I think we don't have the largest YouTube channel and the most profitable YouTube channel. We probably have the most effective YouTube channel on YouTube. Like, people say, well, you got to take 2 days a month and film all day. I'm like, oh, shoot me now. I don't want to do that.
Right.
But if I can live my life and do things I was going to do anyway, and then turn the camera on, and then YouTube is going to send me money and clients, as my granddaughter would say, let me think. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Hey, department fam, wanted to take a brief break from this conversation. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. And the first thing I wanted to talk about is that, did you know that 75% of the people that watch this podcast on YouTube actually aren't subscribed, which is a high chance that you're not subscribed. So number 1, I want to say thank you for listening or watching the podcast. And number 2, if you can hit that subscribe button, that would be amazing. The second thing is, if you are an entrepreneur, content creator, or somebody looking to make money online, I want to encourage you to come to this online event called the Content to Cash Challenge. This is a special 5-day event that's going to give you access to the system I use in my business to make multiple 6 figures with my content. If you've been desiring to either get your business and brand more exposure, grow a YouTube channel, whatever it is when it comes to video, I would encourage you to jump into the Content to Cash Challenge. We'll be sure to post the link to the challenge down in the show notes or the description. And I want to encourage you to jump into the VIP experience. This will give you access to a 1-hour Q&A call every day of the challenge. This will guarantee myself to answer a personalized question you may have. So I'll see you on the Content to Cash Challenge. Now let's jump back into the conversation. Is that Didi?
No, my granddaughter, Ari, she's 4.
Oh, yeah.
So
this is, so you lean into live, and I want you to kind of break down your hook strategy, because you're not pre-filming your hook. You're just going into your video.
So let me talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
The first thing I want to do is I want to warn people. And if anybody tells you there's only one right way to do something, avoid that person. They're an ideologue. Okay? Because there are more than one way. There's more than one way to create a successful hook, a successful story, a successful offer, a successful YouTube video, a successful thumbnail.
Yeah.
Like, because a person found a way that worked for them, they think it is the way that works. It is not the way that works. It is a way that works. And there's a very big difference.
Right.
So I'm going to say some things that work for me that won't work for everybody.
Sure.
Because there are people who have a similar objective who have different zones of genius.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So before I tell you what I believe my zone of genius is, let me tell you what my zone of absolute ungenius is. Okay. I am not a good reader. Like, if I had to read a script to shoot a video, it would be so bad. It would be pathetic. Like, people say, I script out all my videos. If I scripted out a video, it would be so woefully awful, I wouldn't want to watch it.
Yeah. Because
I read slowly. I'm a prolific reader, but my brain moves so fast. My brain moves faster than my eyes. That's how I like to describe it.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, learning my content. Now I'm gonna define learning. Learning my content and owning it and integrating it and making it a part of me is what makes it real and valuable.
Yes.
Because I'm not reading a script. So there are a couple things that I believe. One is that a prepared messenger is better than a prepared message. So I said learning. Here's what I mean by learning. Most people make the mistake of thinking that listening to somebody talk about something is learning, or reading about something is learning, or watching a video is learning, because they think the objective of learning is knowing.
Yep.
The objective of learning is not knowing. The objective of learning is mastery. And I'm going to define mastery as the ability to execute effortlessly without the use of conscious resources. And in other words, when I tie my shoe, I don't have to think about it.
Right.
It's effortless. Why? Because I've mastered tying my shoe. So what my objective is not to learn a bunch of content for the purpose of teaching it.
Mm-hmm.
My objective is to learn a bunch of principles for the purpose of living them.
Yes.
And if I'm living them, I don't need to look up anything because I can just talk about the stuff I did today or the stuff I did yesterday or the stuff I did last week. And it's all going to be good because like I'm teaching you from my life experience, not from a notebook or from a script. Not that there's anything wrong with that because I read slowly. And when I was the kid in school, like if you read in front of the class, all the kids would laugh at you. That was me.
Dang it.
I figured out if I would memorize the stuff instead of having to read it, then I didn't have to go back. And so my focus is on retention and on internalizing for the purpose of integrating. And then when I integrate it and it does something, I take notes on that reaction to my action.
Sure. And
now I know it works, right? So now it becomes a part of me. I don't have to look for it because my reticular activation system, when I'm teaching on a subject, it will remind me of so many of the other principles I've learned in that same lane that my content becomes content for my content. Mm. Does that make sense?
Deep. It makes sense at a very deep level.
and see, when you say that, I think it doesn't feel deep.
Yeah.
It just feels, to me, it feels obvious.
Right.
But that's the thing about your zone of genius,
yes.
right? What's simple, effortless, easy to you because you've mastered it, to other people looks like juggling bowling balls on fire.
Right. But you making it simple, you say, you've said this and I wrote it down, is that simplicity is profundity.
Yes. The simplicity, I don't remember who said this. I didn't come up with it, but it's a great quote. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication.
So good.
Truth is always simple. It's lies that are complicated. Good. And so if you will master, what did Bruce Lee say? I am not afraid of the man who knows 10,000 kicks. I'm afraid of the man who's mastered one kick and practiced it 10,000 times. What?
That's great.
See, that's what I mean. When you can execute the principles that you believe in effortlessly without the use of conscious resources, then you've mastered it. Then you've learned it.
Yeah.
If you have not mastered it, you have not learned it.
Yeah.
You've learned about it. Don't make the mistake of thinking that learning about or learning of or learning from is the same as learning, because it's not.
Good.
If you got to go look it up, it's because you didn't learn it. Anyway, in my opinion.
No, it's fire. But so I would pull the principle out of your hooks is that the way you deliver it is in a way so that people don't click off. And that's the goal. The goal is that
I can tell you about that too.
Yeah. So like you want, at least 70% retention at around 30 seconds. And so you take that like guardrail and the way your approach is to that.
That's second base. First base is how do I get them to click in the first place? Now you got to understand, there are people who spend $15,000 on a thumbnail. Yes. I don't spend $15 on a thumbnail. I'm not saying they're wrong and I'm right. I'm just saying we're different.
Right.
Depends on what your objective is. Because I am a person from my audience, I know what's appealing to my audience because I am he. Does that make sense? And so I know a couple of things about human nature.
I don't want to. You know that you were your audience.
That I still am my audience.
Still your audience.
Right. I'm my audience. I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Who loves learning about business, and I love learning about the Bible.
Yes.
So I teach content I would have wanted somebody to teach me before I knew it.
It's great.
Right. So there's no rocket science involved.
Yeah.
Like the principles that I've learned that have helped me build a multiple 8-figure business.
Right.
are the principles I teach because they're the principles I know work because I use them. And I teach them to my students and they integrate it and it works for them as well. So I don't teach any theory.
Yeah.
Like all of this whole idea of listening to somebody else's content, reading somebody else's book, watching somebody else's channel, and then copying your content from attempting to duplicate them. You're a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. And if that person didn't do their research, you're a copy of a cliche who's a copy of a cliche, who's a copy of a cliche, who's a copy of a cliche, which is why people lean in for a little while and then they abandon you forever, right? That's not what I desire my life to be about. So before my objective is to get them to stick more than 75% of the audience for 30 seconds, my objective is to get them to click. And after I get them to click, then I want to get them to stick.
Right, okay.
So
Let's
the
back up
first
then.
question is, how do I get them to click?
How do you get them to click?
So I believe for the purpose of our thumbnails, I want them to have some of these elements. My objective for our thumbnails is to have some of these components I'm going to name. The thumbnail has to have either contrast, conflict, controversy, confusion, and curiosity. Either all 5 of those or any 2 of those 5. At least 2 of those 5. Every thumbnail title.
That's great.
Now, so here's what the interesting thing about principles. Principles are rinsable and repeatable. They're discoverable, right? They are repeatable. They are reliable. So if I've got a principle, okay, if I know this will work, how can I repeatedly create a thumbnail that's going to have curiosity, conflict, controversy, confusion, and contrast? How can I do that? Well, one of the simple. This is so simple. When you create your thumbnail, make a statement with a question word. Now, what does that see? Even here's what's cool about that. A 3rd grader could understand it, right? Yeah. Make a statement with a question word. What does that mean? It means why this is that, and this and that are opposing each other. Whatever this and that are. For instance, my most popular video is why evil people are rich. Now, there's so many things. People have to do so many mental gymnastics. That video has been up for a little over a year. It's got over 3 million views. Now, 3 million views for a lot of channels is not a lot of views. But for a channel that has 400,000 subscribers, 3 million views is a lot. So,
and it's a longer video.
And it's 40 something minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. So why evil people are rich? Why do people click on that? Here's why they click. Because when I say why evil people are rich, they have to ask themselves at least one question.
Yes.
But it could be more. They could ask themselves, why are evil people rich? So I didn't open the loop. I created an environment that caused them to open the loop. Dang. So they can say, why are evil people rich? They can say, are evil people rich? They could say, who are evil people? They could say, what is rich? So now I've got this person, because of my thumbnail title, having a conversation with themselves about my video. I'm not asking them the question. I'm getting them. See, if I ask you a question, you can ignore me. Yeah. If you ask you a question, you can't ignore you. You have to find the answer. So what I'm doing is I'm creating an environment on my thumbnails that causes people to engage and start having a conversation with themselves in the form of a question. That if they don't find an answer to it, it's going to drive them crazy.
Dude, brilliant. The way you put it, the 5 C's that should lead to somebody having a conversation with themselves.
So that's just one element.
I love that.
And then, if you got 2 houses right beside each other, you don't want to make them look exactly alike, right? Mm-hmm. So I would recommend that you never make your video title and your thumbnail title the same. Because you created confusion, contrast, controversy, conflict, and curiosity in your thumbnail title, whatever the video title is should provide some level of clarification for the thumbnail title, but not complete clarification.
Yeah.
Now, with the thumbnail makes them ask themselves the question, the thumbnail title, but the video title makes them feel like they're going to find the answer.
So good.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So good.
I know.
And I love that you're able to just articulate this at, a little over a year's time of you just going all in on it.
We have obsessed. My team and I have obsessed over why are people watching this video? So a lot of people will start a YouTube channel. Their objective is to make money. My objective wasn't to make money. I was already making money.
Yeah.
Like before I started being intentional on YouTube, we were already making $6 million a year. Like I don't have anything I want to buy that I can't buy. I don't need any more money.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take more because the game is fun.
Yeah.
But I don't need any more money. So I didn't start the YouTube channel to make money. I didn't become intentional on YouTube to make money. I didn't even do it to build a big audience.
Yeah.
I did it because it looked like an environment that would be worth getting good in. So our whole objective, even now, our whole objective, we have 446,000 subscribers. Today is the 4th of October, 2023. March 31st, 2022, we had 10,500 subscribers. Now we have 446,000. So our channel's grown by 436,000 subscribers since April of last year.
Wow.
Okay. Without us burning ourselves out or being insane over it. But my objective wasn't to grow. I wouldn't have been able to imagine that my channel could grow this fast.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I have this goal by this time. I don't even do that to myself, but that's a different conversation.
I love it. You said that.
I want to be good.
Yeah. I want to get
good
10
at
years.
this. I'm going to give it 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm going to do at least one video a week for 10 years and see if that does something.
Yeah.
And most importantly, in 10 years, can I get good at this?
Yeah.
Now here's Tony Robbins says that most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 10 years.
Yeah.
I believe most people short circuit themselves through goal setting by having an outcome goal that they cannot control all the variables of, so they can't make the outcome goal happen. And when it doesn't happen, they become disillusioned and disappointed. I don't set goals. I have activity objectives.
Yeah.
I can control whether or not I do release a video a week. But now we release a video every day. When we started, we weren't doing that. But we figured out a system where we can do 2 long forms a week. We were doing 3, but we found out we got way more views and way more engagement when we only did 2. Yeah. Because if you create too many videos during the week, what happens is the subsequent videos cannibalize the views of the previous videos.
Yes.
Right? So we do 2 long forms a week, 1 live, 1 recorded, and then we do shorts on the other days. And it's good. And that's enough content for us to get good at what we're doing. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think we're good at YouTube yet. I think we're getting better. I think we're better at it than we were.
Yeah.
But we're not good at it yet. But I know that within the next 8.5 years, there's hope.
No, 100. No, and I would say what I would say as somebody who just pays attention to a lot of people who come up and like build their audience fairly fast is that you leaned into only what you could do. Right. And I'm not copying anybody because my secret sauce is being Myron Golden. Yes. Your secret sauce is being Omar. Like the person watching this video, the secret sauce that is the thing that would make their YouTube channel work is the thing they don't like about themselves. Right? Now I make fun of this on my channel, right? I've got 6 brothers. They all have normal names: Jeff, Mike, Rob, Dwayne, Derek, and Mark. And my name's Myron. And so I hated my name when I was growing up. I used to tell my mom when I was a kid, when I turn 18, I'm changing my name. I cannot believe that when you came to me, the only thing you could think of was Myron. I hated it that much. Dang. Right? I was 12 years old. My dad introduced me to one of his friends and he said, "Son, tell Mary your name." And I started crying, 12 years old, because I hated my name so much. And I was an introvert and didn't like talking to people. See, all of the lies, I'm talking to the people who are watching me right now, all of the lies that you believe about yourself, which is what I call your identity, right? Identity. That's all of the things that people your whole life told you that you are not. Buying into your identity is the thing that's keeping you stuck. So, or attempting to create a my-identity to overcome the lie-identity. What's a my-identity? My-identity is another fake identity that you created to prove to the people who gave you the identity that you're more than they thought you are. You can't step into the greatness that you were created for until you own your identity, which can only come from the ultimate identity, which is the I am that I am, right? So God, when he told Moses his name, he just said, I am. Yeah. I am what? I am that I am. And so until you own the identity God gave you, you basically are identity-less. You're literally like a person in a foreign country with no passport. So anyway. That's really good. That was a rant. People thought they were going to get some YouTube little, tactics, and like they're just getting their life changed right now. But YouTube will change your life. Well, YouTube can be a catalyst that contributes to life change. Yes. You know what'll change your life? What'll change the people's lives watching? What'll change my life, your life? When we become more aware of the fact that nothing's missing.
everybody watching you right now to ask me these questions, you, me, everybody in this conference, the thing that's mind-blowing is you were put here to do something that nobody who's ever lived in the history of the world can do. So nothing's missing. Step into who you are and the calling of your assignment and look for people to serve. And I'm telling you, doors will open for you that you cannot even begin to imagine.
Dude, so good. Let's transition this conversation in the
Sure.
more what we were talking about downstairs.
Okay.
And that is we are at Vid Summit.
We're at Vid
and
Summit.
You're looking at everybody here and you're like, it's crazy to see what's in their eyes and what they're going after. And it's kind of, you see it as like almost the wrong thing, a little bit. And that is this naiveness that I was talking to you that I have, this naiveness to go out, make videos on the internet, put yourself out there, but you see this as a huge business opportunity.
Well, it's a huge business opportunity for people who don't have a YouTube channel. It's a huge business opportunity for people who do have a YouTube channel. It's a huge business opportunity for people who have a business and don't have a YouTube channel. So what's really interesting, and I'm going to talk about this in my presentation today here at Vid Summit, like in order to build a successful business, you need to get good at sales.
Yes.
You need to get good at marketing, and they're not the same thing. And you need to get good at brand building. So I'm going to define those three things. I believe that selling is uncovering the value you have so well that people are happy to exchange the money they have in their pocket for the value you've revealed. So selling is not talking people into buying something they don't want, don't need, and can't afford.
Right.
Selling is making something available to people that they've been looking for anyway.
Right.
And you just uncover, I've got this thing you value. And when they value your transformation, the transformation of your product, your service, your opportunity, when they value that more than they value the money, then the money it's easy to pay the money.
Right.
Right. Marketing is, in my opinion, these are Myron Golden definitions. You're not going to find these in a dictionary anywhere.
Yeah,
So in case
really
somebody's watching right now, I want y'all to know, right? I created these definitions because I didn't like the definitions that existed.
Sure.
Okay. So I'm just being transparent. So marketing is the art and science of discovering and developing in other people a desire for more and more of your product, your service, or your opportunity. Now, notice I said the art and science. It's both art and science. Art is the feeling. The science is the measurability of it, of discovering. Marketing is not about disseminating, putting out information. Marketing is about gathering information. If you don't gather information before you put out information, the information you put out is always going to be a mismatch.
So good.
Right? So that's marketing. What is brand building? When you build a brand is a name that reminds you of a story. A premium brand is a name that reminds you of a story that you'd be willing to pay a lot of money to see yourself in. You want to see yourself in that story. Why? Because you know if you're in that story, it'll elevate your brand, your name equity,
Yes.
right? Why do people drive Rolls Royce? Because Rolls Royce is somebody's name. And what their name represents is the ultimate luxury driving experience. Why does somebody drive Mercedes? They drive it because it's the ultimate luxury performance experience in driving, right? Why does somebody wear Louis Vuitton? My daughter, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it. My daughter got me a Louis Vuitton belt.
Yeah. And
she knows I'm geeky. So when I saw it, I didn't know it was a Louis Vuitton belt. I literally thought it was a belt with a Roman numeral on it. I thought, oh, that's cool. A belt with a Roman numeral. Anyway, but why do people wear like premium brands? Because if I wear a premium brand, I'm telling the world that I believe I'm a premium person. People will spend money to prove to themselves and others that they are worth it.
Good.
So the question for businesses becomes, how can I position my name, my brand, as a brand that if you spend money with my brand, it's going to elevate your brand equity. And you have to do that in a story that's so compelling that people are like, well, of course I would pay this person this money. Here's why. Here's what's really cool. Most businesses turn their offer into a commodity by looking at what somebody else sells theirs for if they do something remotely similar and they charge the same amount. I don't do that. Yeah. Do you know why? Because it doesn't matter what anybody else charges. If you are the best, no one expects you to be the cheapest. And if you are the cheapest, no one will believe you are the best. So one of the reasons I have $1 million offer and I have a $350,000 offer and I have a $55,000 offer and a $27,000 offer and a $25,000, the reason I have those levels of offers is because my desire is for people to know that if you engage with me, number one, it's not going to be cheap. It's not going to be easy. It's just going to be worth it.
Yeah.
But here's my promise to anybody that I work with. This is my covenant between me and God, and me and anybody I work with. If I don't believe with every fiber of my being that I can assist you in 10xing whatever you paid me, I'm not going to sell it to you. And 10x is low.
Mm-hmm.
How can you say that? For instance, my VIP day, for instance, is $350,000. We have a guy who did a VIP day last year. His name's Myron. 2 weeks after he did his VIP day, 2 weeks, he had a $7 million day. $7 million in revenue in a day. He had never generated $7 million in a day in revenue in his life before that, right? There's another lady who was in our VIP day program. She bought a VIP day. Within a couple of months, she had an $11 million day. Now, that's not everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that if somebody does a VIP day with me, they're going to make that. But I believe if they are coachable and they make themselves available, it will be virtually impossible for them not to generate at least $3.5 million. How can you say that? Because it's math and human psychology.
Yeah.
Neither one of those things change.
No, it's so good. But so I feel like people, young people, or even older people that are going
Careful
into
how you use that word old around old people. No, I'm just kidding.
Wise people. Because you can be old and dumb.
Ooh. The only thing worse than being old and dumb is being old and dumb and ugly.
Dang,
or
cold
old
world.
and dumb and ugly and sick. Wow, it's getting worse. Let's go.
So, but people's approach to YouTube, sometimes they don't see that it is a business opportunity, because they see it as like, oh, I want to create and maybe they don't know this, but it's a media company where you're going to make your money on brand deals and sponsorships, which a lot of entertainment type of channels are going that route. That's a lot of type of speakers at this event. But like, and it's so cool that you would say these things, because what lies underneath your channel has been why it's been so financially rewarding.
Right.
So what would you tell somebody going into it? Like you're watching this video, you're listening to this podcast, and you're like, man, I know I need to be on YouTube. I know I need to start creating content.
Right.
But I see it like the Mr. Beast route.
Well, if you are like a Mr. Beast, you've been editing videos since you were 13, and you obsess over the quality of the videos, and you love doing entertaining things that are also engaging, go that route. Here's what I'm going to say. Don't copy anybody.
It's good.
Like you can learn things from everybody, but don't copy anybody. A good friend of mine told me a long time ago, he said, Myron, I'm going to tell you something. He's a Southern pastor from Savannah, Georgia. He said, Myron, his name's Kenny Grant. Kenny said, Myron, I'm going to tell you something. I said, what's that, Kenny? He said, don't ever try to be somebody else, because if you do, nobody's there. I said, what do you mean nobody's there? He said, well, the person you're trying to be ain't there, and you ain't there, so nobody's there. I was like, ooh, that's so good.
That's great.
Be yourself. The only person you can be is you. And if you refuse to be that, then who's going to take your place? Because nobody can.
Yeah.
Right. So don't try to be Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast method worked for him because he is Mr. Beast. If I tried to do that, it'd be worse than it'd be flatter than a pancake. But if he attempted to do what I do, he'd be flatter than a pancake. So be yourself and let that lead where it leads. Here's the cool thing. Even though I've been on YouTube since 2007, I don't feel like I've been a YouTube, like I haven't been intentionally on YouTube, but for more than a year and a half.
Yeah.
And because of that, I'm still on the learning curve. Man, there are so many people here who know so much more than me. And I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to learn as much as I possibly can, which is why I came last year and I also came this year. But I'm not going to let what I learned turn me into cause me to attempt to be somebody that I can't be.
Great.
I'm just going to hopefully let it make me a better version of myself.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
So good. I just love that the theme throughout this conversation is truly just lean into
who you are, who God made you to be, and let that do what it does, and let that do what only that can do.
Yes.
It's really interesting. I tell my clients that, people say, but Myron, all I know how to do is cook. You can't make any money doing that. Well, tell that to Rachel Ray. She's a millionaire. She cooked and turned the camera on.
Yep.
I'm just a housewife. All I do is I'm a homemaker, and you can't make any money doing that. Tell that to Martha Stewart. She's a billionaire with a B. She turned the camera on.
So good.
I'm just curious, and I just ask a lot of questions. You can't make any money asking a lot of questions. Really? Tell that to Oprah Winfrey. Billionaire with a B. Not only is she a billionaire with a B, she owns the letter of the alphabet. She owns the O, right? Oprah owns the O. Now, Omar, you're gonna have to go and see if you can I don't know. Maybe you can somehow figure out a way to get your channel big enough to buy it from her, right? No. But Oprah owns the letter of the alphabet. Why? She's curious. She asks famous people questions in front of their audience and migrated their audience to her. That's a play. That's a play.
Yeah.
Run the play.
Okay. It's just kind of a challenging question.
Okay.
I'm being myself.
Yes.
I'm making YouTube videos. It's been 3 months.
So
I'm getting no traction.
Okay, but what are you learning? So if you're the traction, 3 months, here's what the traction I would recommend look for. How have your videos gotten better or worse in 3 months? And by better or worse, how have they gotten better or worse at serving people a transformation that they desire? See, most people, here's the problem.
Yeah, I love this. Go.
Here's the problem.
Go.
If you start a business for yourself, if you start a YouTube channel for yourself, if you build this is the food I love, so I'm going to make a restaurant for it. Good, right? I'm going to write a book because I want people to know. I want to write a book about my story. Nobody cares about your story. Nobody cares about my story. Build your business, your YouTube channel, everything you do. Let it be at the service of other people.
So good.
Because greatness, real greatness, is not in notoriety. It's not in fame. It's not in fortune. It's not in experiences. The real greatness is in doing something for somebody other than yourself, even when, and sometimes, especially when you know they can't do anything for you. It sounds so hard to believe. You know what my favorite comment on my YouTube channel is? I can't believe this guy is teaching us all this stuff for free. Exactly. That's the point. Yes. That's the point.
I love it. And it's the Jesus model.
That is
when somebody came to Jesus with their need, he didn't say your sins are forgiven. He said he fixed the need. Because that's what they knew they needed. He always
fixed the problem they knew they had before he fixed the problem he knew they had. Because if you fix the problem they know they have, they'll be willing to listen to everything else you say.
Yeah.
Which is why, I mean, like our YouTube channel gave us the ability to sell out an event in June. You were there.
Yeah.
600 people in 2.5 weeks, sold out. When the time the event started, we didn't start promoting until 8 weeks out. By the time the event started, we had a waiting list of 270 people for this event. And guess what? At that event, we did almost $8 million in revenue because, and the majority of that audience, because I asked, how many of y'all heard of me from YouTube?
Yeah, already.
2/3 of the audience heard of us from YouTube.
Yeah.
Show up for the people. Don't worry about what you're going to get. The farmer doesn't have to make the seed turn into a harvest. He just has to sow the seed and cultivate the seed and protect the seed and water the seed and let the seed do what only the seed can do.
So good. So I want to let people know about your monthly challenges. If you want to learn about how Myron really thinks and, you know, the way he teaches business, he has what is called the
Make More Offers Challenge.
Make More Offers Challenge, which one would be either happening or coming up if you're listening.
One's happening, actually. I don't know when this is going to air, but one's happening next week. We're not going to do one in November this year because the travel's too intense. Yeah. But we're going to do one in December. So October.
And we'll always constantly make sure that link is updated, regardless, because people will find this conversation at some point in their journey, even.
Yeah, and you want to make sure the link is updated. So click the link that popped up on your screen right now, and then that'll get you there.
And I would encourage you to follow Myron on YouTube.
By the way, here's what's cool. So I was talking about serving people, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things people are apprehensive about when somebody makes them an offer is, how do I know it's good? And then here's the answer: you don't. So what I do for our challenge, for our VIP experience, we have 3 levels of challengers. We have general admission. It's $97. You get to watch the challenge in the Facebook group for an hour a day for 5 days. And I'm going to teach you the 4 boss moves that can scale any business. So, and just like can scale any business by 1,280% if you just do these 4 moves. Now, what's interesting, while we're having this interview, we just got recognized Inc. 5000, fastest growing business in America, number 427, top 10%. Our business grew by 1,358%. This year over 2022 over 2021. So I'm not talking theory. It worked. This is what we do in our business, right?
So good.
So if you do the general admission, you pay $97. You get to watch it in a Facebook group. You watch it or don't watch it. It's a challenge. It's not a class. The videos are only up for like 20 hours, 22 hours.
Yep.
So you either watch it or you miss it, right? But at the VIP experience, you get an hour of Q&A prior to the challenge. You get to listen to me answer questions for the next level, which is VIP Platinums. And if you do a VIP challenge ticket for $297, I give a 10 times better than money back guarantee, which means if you don't believe it was worth 10 times what you paid for, you just let us know on Friday. And by the way, I'm going to remind you to get your refund. Let us know on Friday. If you don't think it was worth 10 times what you paid for, I'm going to give you a refund on that $297. And then platinums do the $297 plus an additional $500, and you get to ask questions. If you don't feel like it was worth 10 times what you paid for, I'm going to give you your money back.
Yeah.
Like, how can you lose? Right? I'm taking all the risk because I don't even know if you're an honest person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you are, I know I'm going to show up and I'm going to give the goods.
Yes.
Right? So it'll change your life. I've
taken it several times because you need to hear what you teach
multiple times.
Yeah, multiple times.
Because there are layers. I've been in business. How old are you, Omar?
I'm 32.
So I've been in business longer than you've been in the world, right? I got started as an entrepreneur in October of 1985, which is a couple years before you were born, right?
Yeah.
Right. So October of 1985. Think about that. I've learned so many things. How in the world am I going to teach somebody in 2 hours a day in 5 days stuff just take me 37 years to learn? It doesn't compute.
Yeah. So I would encourage you, tap into the Make More Offers challenge.
You'll be glad you did.
Watch and listen to his content. It is so helpful. It is refreshing, and just follow him everything he's doing.
It's different. You know why it's different? Because it's me and I'm different.
Yes.
Lean into your differentness.
Yes.
Lean into your differentness.
Just appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, brother.
Myron.
Thank you.
The GOAT, Myron Golden.